Hey everyone, welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. I'm your host, Mikan.
And I am your host, Ichigo. What's up, guys?
What's up? Join us this week as we cover essential Japanese every anime fan should know. Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, guys. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So, this week we will be talking about essential Japanese every anime fan should know. And so, before we get into it, I think we're going to give a little background on our Japanese language. So, for me, I am actually, for those of you who don't know, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I am half Japanese, and that is sort of how I learned Japanese, I guess you could say. But I did study in college, and that's how I learned to read and write. And then of course, went on to go to study abroad, and I met Ichigo there, my long lost other half.
Yay.
How about you, Ichigo? What's your journey like?
So, I actually started studying Japanese at the age of 8, and I mostly self taught until college, where I took formal Japanese lessons and I did major in Japanese language and culture. And my Japanese language ability has definitely grown over the past several years.
Hmm.
But for a while, I did struggle with reading and writing, but I'm at the point where I don't struggle with it anymore. But I want to say my language definitely grew when I did study abroad and I got to meet my other half.
Yes. So that's our little background, everyone. But actually, today we even have a special guest.
Yay!
Yay! Another person we met while we were studying abroad, Yuzu. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Yuzu. I'm from Japan, and like what Mikan said, we met in Japan. I also met Ichigo in Japan as well. I'm joining this episode, bringing some Japanese perspectives and I don't know some knowledge in the
Yay!
conversation. Nice to see all of you guys, or yeah, talk to all of you guys.
Yes, thank you for
Yes.
joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm so excited. So, guys, Yuzu, Mikan, and I have actually been friends for over 10 years. We
That's
all
crazy.
met in Kyoto when Mikan and I studied abroad, and Yuzu was one of our first friends who took us around, took us shopping,
Hmm.
led us to all the anime stores in Kyoto.
Yeah.
She
She knew all
added
the
to our
spots.
addictions.
Yeah, I remember taking Ichigo to Animeto in Kyoto, following her around in the store, trying to find Sailor Moon goods and other stuff. So yeah. I also
Sailor
discovered
Moon.
new stuff
Always Sailor
there.
Moon.
Yeah,
It
in
was
Kyoto.
always Sailor Moon. Yeah.
It
No, I
was.
Yuzu was definitely a plug for me in getting Japanese goods to the States, guys. She
Yeah, so we had our little local guide there, which was great because Yuzu knew all the great places.
Yeah, it
So
was
especially
Yuzu,
kaiten sushi.
oh yeah, right by the school. That was nice.
So, Yuzu, can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to study English?
Yeah, sure. So I started studying English when I was in junior high school, like any other mandatory, how the mandatory Japanese classes are set up. So I didn't do any extra studying outside of school at that time. But growing up, my grandma was a Japanese language teacher, and she would invite her students to home, or she would also have homestay students who would stay with us for weeks, sometimes months together. So I kind of grew up in an international environment. So that's where I was exposed to English quite a bit, or other languages. And then in high school, I went to study in England for a little bit, and study English there, taking some courses in high school there as well. And when I was finishing up my high school, deciding what to study in university, I was thinking of studying either psychology or English, and I couldn't decide. I left both, so I decided to go to school for both. I'm studying psychology and English. So that's my journey with English.
Mhm. Actually, that was, like, the first one of the first things I remember when I met you. I was like, "Whoa, her English is so good." I was like I thought she lived, like, outside of Japan for, like, a long time, but she was like, "Oh, no, mostly." I mean, you've traveled a lot though, so
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like what again, like Mika and Inichigo said, I feel like being with you guys for a year together in Japan, that improved my English a lot. It goes kind of both ways. We helped each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad because you were definitely the translator for me for other students. My Japanese was not that great at the time, so you definitely helped me out a lot.
One
I'm
funny thing that I remember with Ichigo was we went to my university's Bunkasai festival, school festival, and we found a cosplay club booth. So we went there,
Oh,
and there were
really?
people, doing cosplays. So she was asking, "Oh,
Oh.
which anime are you guys doing?" And they say, "Hunter x Hunter." And Ichigo was
Oh
like,
my god.
"What? It?" And they were like, "Hunter x Hunter." She didn't get it, so I said, "Hunter x Hunter." With more like R sound, and
Oh.
Ichigo finally got it. So they're like, "Oh, our pronunciation was so bad."
So cute.
and they were so gung ho, and I was like, I don't know what anime that is. Translate for me, please.
But they were
That's so
actually speaking
cute.
in English. Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, that's hilarious though.
I actually forgot about that. I thought you were gonna bring up the Utano Prince Sama cosplay people. So
Oh, another obsession Ichigo
yeah.
has. She went everywhere in Japan looking for Utano Prince Sama. That was a new experience for me. I've never seen someone so dedicated.
When I am dedicated to a show, I am dedicated to a
She goes
show
for it all the way.
all the way. So, Yuzu, we this week wanted to discuss some essential Japanese language that every anime fan should know. And just kind of starting out, just like basic greetings. So, for example, Ohayo gozaimasu means
Mhm.
good morning in a very formal way, I guess to
It's like the
say.
full term, I would say, the full
Hmm.
phrase.
Or, for example, if you're answering the phone, moshi moshi, which I embarrassingly played that out. I would answer my regular American phone and it's like, moshi moshi.
No. Wait, were you really?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to answer my cell phone,
Oh,
moshi moshi. It was only
that's
my mom
cute.
and dad, so
That's cute though.
they got it. But but are there any other like words and phrases that you think anime fans should know? Or let me put it this way: any words or phrases anime fans should practice if they ever want to go to Japan?
I feel like sumimasen is the best word,
That's a good one.
Mm.
simple one. Because you can say it to say kind of thank you or say sorry or to say excuse me. So I feel like sumimasen is super useful. And people in Japan
Mm.
apologize all the time too. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think
they do.
it's really useful word. And it has a lot of different nuances, right? You can kind of use in almost like any context and you don't really miss the usage, I feel like.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
Do
guys,
you
if you're ever
yeah,
getting off of the subway and there's people in your way, you can just say, ah, sumimasen, sumimasen, and people will move out of your way.
or just say, "Don't get him." No, I'm kidding.
Get
That's a
out.
rude way to say, yeah, basically,
Yes,
"Move or get out."
move. You don't ever want to say that to a Japanese person because you might get pushed. But that's actually, if you think about it, they say words like that in anime,
They
like
do.
"Don't
It's
get
kind of
inside," like "Move out of my way,"
yeah.
and
They
then
kinda say,
somebody's
like
getting
yeah, a lot
shoved.
of violent words, yep. A lot of
That's
crass
true.
words, that's a good way to put it, I think,
Yeah.
that maybe normal Japanese people wouldn't really say.
Do you typically hear "doke" in Japan?
Not really. Even in my friends groups, I feel like they don't really say doke because it's such a strong word to say,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So yeah, if somebody says that to another person, that person will be in shock. Like, what just
I
happened? Like, what did she
yeah.
or what did they say? Right.
It's,
So
like, really
kind of
rude.
like, yeah, yeah. I guess people say that when they're super angry. But other
Mhm.
than that, I think people normally don't use that.
Is
But
there
yeah.
something that you feel like foreigners use a lot or say a lot that's kind of either inappropriate or doesn't really make sense?
I had sometimes when my friends would say words that I knew they were coming from anime, but I can't remember all of them on top of my head. But one thing that comes to my mind right now is kimi or anata.
Oh, Kimi.
We
Mm,
Ah.
actually never say kimi or anata in
that's
any
true.
context at all, right? Even in formal Japanese or even in casual Japanese. I had
Mm,
some
Mhm.
friends who would ask me, Kimi wa genki? Or, anata wa nani shimasu ka?
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's an interesting
Kimi,
take.
yeah, I actually didn't think about that because 'cause I've
I've never thought of
probably used
yeah.
it. Sorry. Um, for Kimi and Anata wa, Kimi is a way of saying, like, "You there," like, "You person over
Kimi.
Yeah,
there," and then Anata wa is also another way of saying "you," but I
Yeah.
feel like Anata wa is more feminine and Kimi is more masculine.
that's
So,
true. Kimi
typically
sounds a
in
little bit more condescending.
yeah,
Mhm.
typically in anime, you have that overbearing male character who's like, "Kimi wa nanimono da?" It's like, "Who
Yeah.
are you?" Like,
It's like,
very
"Oi, Kimi!
yeah, like,
何やってんだ?" Like
very, very strong, muscly type dude. This pops in my
mhm.
head, or like just a very angry male character. Whereas Anata was like, "Anata wa nanimono?" Like a very feminine, girly, long hair anime character that's it doesn't have as much strong I don't even know the word I'm trying to think of right now, but it's
It
not
just
as
it just doesn't come
strong.
on as strong, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think
Yeah.
about it like that.
Yeah, but I feel
Huh.
like
Yeah.
both of them are still kind of formal. So
Mhm.
when
Mm.
somebody tell or asks me like "anata wa nani shitemasu ka?" I would be like, "Oh wow," like you're telling me what are you doing? Like I feel like that like
Mhm.
word "anata" also kind of sounds strong too. It is a little bit more feminine compared to "kimi," but people in Japan normally don't use the word or in English "you" that much, right? People use people's names when they call the other person. So, for example, if I
Yeah.
want to ask Ichigo what she is doing, I wouldn't say, あなたは何しますか? I would say, いちごは何しますか?
Mhm.
Or same thing with Mika, and like, what do you want to eat? あなたは何を食べたいですか? I feel like that's a sentence that you would learn in a Japanese class, but in reality, we would just say, みかんは何食べたいですか? So we
Mhm.
refer people by their names.
So if you don't know somebody by their name just yet, besides Kimi and Anata, what is another way that you could ask somebody?
Just omit the subject completely. You don't even have to say the
Yeah.
person's name, or you don't have to even say kimi, anata, or
Mhm.
anything that means you at all. So you can just
Yeah.
directly say, for example, looking at ichigo, say, I was going to say anata, but yeah, looking at ichigo, you can just say, nani tabetai, or nani
Mhm.
tabetai desu ka,
Yeah.
or nani
Yeah.
shimasu ka.
Yeah.
And yeah, because of the eye contact, you will get it. You will get that I'm talking
You'll
to
know who you're
you,
talking
right?
to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Another thing that I'm noticing when I talk with foreigners who watch anime a lot but who didn't study Japanese before is they use wayo a lot at the end of a sentence. Like in anime,
Mhm.
people might say, I had an example, but it went away. For example, like, ikuwayo, let's go. A girl
Yeah.
Oh.
character might say ikuwayo, but we actually don't say wayo in real life. I've never heard of anybody using that. Instead, we
That's
say
kinda cute.
ikuyo or iko. But I hear a lot of foreigners say ikuwayo, and I'm like, oh my god, this person is like super, like ojo sama type, like princess type.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mhm. Are there any others that you may have heard
That sound, like,
that
off or kind of weird, out of place.
or just
Right.
things or phrases that you would like if you ever were in Japan and you heard a foreigner say this, you'd probably be like, "Whoa, wait a minute." Don't say that,
Um,
or say it a different way.
hmm. One thing that came to my mind, it's nothing related to rudeness or anything, but I hear a lot of foreigners say "arigatou gozaimashita" when they leave a restaurant or
Oh,
when they
yeah.
receive
Hmm.
something. Instead of saying
Yes.
"arigatou gozaimasu," which is present tense, people often use the past tense, which is "arigatou gozaimashita." But a lot of times you don't have to use the past tense, but
Mhm.
"arigatou gozaimasu" kind of fits the situation a little bit more. And for example, let's say I would go to a restaurant and I finish eating, right? I would still say arigatou gozaimasu, even though the eating part and the serving part was already
Is it
done, so
done?
it's in the
Yeah.
past. But it's also immediate past, right? It's not something that happened several days ago. So I would
Yeah.
still say arigatou gozaimasu and I would leave the restaurant. But I feel like the concept of past tense, what's past, what's in the past and what's in the present seems to be a little bit confusing to a lot of foreigners. So I hear a lot of
Yeah.
people saying arigatou gozaimashita, kind of overuse that past tense in many
Hmm.
situations.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
tenses are always hard in, like, most languages 'cause it's used like, certain things are used very differently.
Yeah. Past, present, future tense. They all I don't want to say they sound similar in Japanese, but they can easily change between mas, mashita, des, deshita. It's just by adding one symbol, I guess, at the end can quickly change that sentence from past to present tense. And
Mhm.
obviously that doesn't apply to all Japanese sentences or sentence structures or phrases or things like that, but most of the time somebody can quickly change the ending of a sentence just by adding past or present to whatever it is that they're trying to say. So,
Yeah. Do you like, this is a question for both you guys. Do you guys have favorite words that you like in Japanese that you like to hear other people say or that you just like to say in general?
The first thing that pops in my head is "めっちゃ好きやねん." Because
Just kidding.
it's a phrase that's I like it so much or I love it so much in Kansai dialect. And I'm from Kansai, so I speak Kansai in my daily life, right? And there was a time that I was talking about food or something, and I said, "めっちゃ好きやねん." And then a girl from another prefecture was super fascinated by it. She was like, "I didn't know people in Kansai actually use that word. I thought it was only from anime or TV shows." So it was my first time hearing that phrase, and she was so amazed by it. So that
Oh,
stuck out with me. So I like the phrase "めっちゃ好きやねん."
that's really cute, actually. What about you, Ichigo?
I have several. Mine is daisuki.
Daisuki.
Daisuki. I love you.
That's actually really pretty.
What about
I
you,
would have
Mika?
I have to go with the classic "bakayero" or "baka." Classic. I'm sure every single person, probably even if you don't watch anime or listen to Japanese, has probably heard that word.
Yeah, that's
It's a
definitely an
good one.
anime fan word.
Yeah, it definitely is.
100%. Or just like the sounds in Japanese is like or so da ne or ma ma.
Mhm. They just have, like, a good sound, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, those sounds are so useful. There are so many of them that you can use, right? In English, I feel like there aren't a lot of sounds that I could replace the Japanese sounds. So I often say "oh no" a lot to say or he or ho, like all these different sounds that have different nuances. But I feel like in English, there's only like "oh no" that fits the best in any
Mhm.
Mhm.
situation. So I kind of notice myself repeating the same English word. But in Japanese, those sounds are very useful because you can really convey what you feel by just making a sound.
Yeah, the way
Yep.
they, like, pronounce things in their sound effects are really are really cute, in my opinion. They just sound really cute and very expressive.
Oh yeah. It's almost like you're filling empty space and you're letting that
Yeah.
other person know that you are fully listening to them and that they have your attention.
That's actually really important to do in Japanese culture, making sounds every time somebody finishes a sentence or something like that, because that means you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
acknowledging the other person, right? And I
Or
also
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
notice
you're
myself doing that
listening.
when I'm
Mhm.
speaking English. And I'm always like one of the loudest in a conversation because I'll be like, always, oh, okay. So I feel like
Yes.
it's
And
important to do. I know in English
mhm.
or English speaking countries, people are more like quiet, waiting for the other person to finish the whole thing that they want to say. But in Japan, it's okay for you to also say something, make sounds, or acknowledge what the other person is saying.
Oh, yeah. No, I see that all the time, especially the head nod.
Mhm.
I know other people do that, but, like, Japanese people really move their head with as they're listening to somebody, like, "Yes, I'm taking it all in. I hear what you're saying."
You
Even
guys
right now,
can't
I'm doing
see
that too.
us, but we're all
We're
nodding our
all
head as she is
nodding our
saying
head.
this.
And I know Americans do it too, but, Japanese people really take it to the next level.
It's almost well, and not only that, like when you're in a business setting and you take a phone call and you're listening to your client or your customer, and they are saying, for example, oh, I want to get this. In between while they're talking, you're like, hi, hi, hi. Ah, そうですね。はい、はい。わかりました。はい、はい。わかりました。すいません。Hi. And it just like is a constant repetitive thing
Yeah.
that at this point, I feel like I mastered that on the phone. I may sometimes not fully understand what people are saying, but
You just gotta fake it till you make it.
I got that part down.
When I become so self conscious that I'm nodding a lot, I start to be too conscious to the point that I feel like I'm actually jolting my brain a little bit. So, yeah, I sometimes try not to do it because I'm nodding like constantly, nonstop. Another thing similar to that I didn't know I noticed myself doing quite a bit or Japanese people doing quite a bit is when people say bye to each other like bye bye or sayonara or something, we always wave our hand at the other person. We don't
Oh,
really
yeah,
say
that's a good
sayonara by just standing still. But I noticed, my coworkers or my foreign friends, when they say bye to each other, they're just standing and acknowledge each other with their face and say, bye, have a great day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think it's kind of cool that they can do that, but I don't know what to do with my hands. So, and I feel
Mm.
tense when I do that. So I have to also,
You just
I
gotta
have to wave
emote,
my
yeah.
hand at my
Yeah.
coworkers. And a lot of people tell me it looks childish, but I don't know. I just want to do that.
It's cute. I think it's cute.
I do it.
Is there, like, in your opinion, Yuzu, is there a word that like a Japanese word that stands out to you that there is no sort of translation in English?
There are a lot, but I can't think of anything top of my head right now.
Mm. What about you,
Japanese.
Ichigo? Anything coming to your mind?
Itadakimasu.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Itadakimasu. There's so many translations, and you see this in a lot of anime. Before they eat, they'll put their hands together and they'll say itadakimasu, and it basically means there's no direct translation for it. There are several. But to me, it basically means like, thank you for the food, or it could also mean, let's eat, or it's like a quick prayer before you
Yeah.
eat by saying, like, thank you for this meal. Itadakimasu and gochiso sama deshita, which is after you finish eating. This is another phrase. It's like, once again, thank you for the food. It was delicious. The food was great. So there's no direct translation, but you see it a lot in anime. And I think if you are studying Japanese, anime is definitely the perfect medium to pick up on words and phrases.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful because not all words and phrases that is used in anime have direct English translations.
Mhm. And I would say maybe a lot of shoujo or, like, high school style slice of life might have more when it comes to conversations, they might have more normal conversations, but a lot of, like, fighting or action or shonen have a lot of crass way of speaking or sort of
Oh
almost
yeah.
rude, because, of course, that's just the way the characters are portrayed. But
Mhm.
one word that I always thought was interesting was "yoroshiku onegaishimasu." We don't really have that in
Yeah.
English.
It can be used for so many different
Please,
things.
yeah, please or please take care of me, kind of, or look after. It's a very sort
Vague
of
word.
vague word, yeah,
Yeah.
that Americans don't really use.
Or, well, I guess hajimemashite, but
Oh,
I
I
feel
feel like
like
yeah, nice to meet you. I
nice
get
to meet
yeah,
you.
nice to meet you, kind of.
Well, then never mind. I scratched that.
But I feel like hajimemashite is also quite useful because nice to meet you is talking about meeting, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
But hajimemashite
Yeah.
is not only about, it's not only talking about meeting, but it's also talking about talking on the phone or texting for the first time to each other. So it can be used in a lot of different situations. But for nice to meet you in English, I feel weird saying that to people that I've never met. I would chat online only, or I would
Mhm.
have a conversation on the phone. So I would maybe say, nice to meet you, or nice to talk with you on
Mhm.
the phone. So
I
yeah, I
see.
feel like in English, when I say that, it sounds a little bit more formal, but hajimemashite is more casual and useful in many situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or "お疲れ様." That one is also a word that I feel there is no English translation.
These are all very business words.
Yeah. That's probably because that's a lot of, like, the business speak, and more of the formal
Mhm.
speak is things that, in English, like, American culture, it's just not something that we have.
Yeah. If you're referring it to anime, though, anybody that is currently watching My Boss is Goofy, please go watch it. That anime will warm your heart. Okay, 100%. If you're having a bad day at work or just a bad day in general, put that anime on. I bet you it'll make your life just brighten up. But that anime is based off of they're all in an office setting. So a lot of these words and phrases that we're using right now is in that anime. So go watch it if you're interested. But no, I definitely agree. I can't even think of
One
a good
word.
translation for it.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't think there really is.
Nice work today.
Good job.
Good job.
But it's like you're kinda leaving. So, it's like, I guess you're saying I guess you're saying to them, "Good
Good
job."
work.
Yeah, or "Good work." Yeah, I don't know. It's very
Yeah, but
interesting.
good work also sounds kind of condescending. But otsukaresama desu can be used in to people who are in higher positions too. Right? So it doesn't
Yeah.
really sound condescending. It just sounds quite neutral and caring because
Mhm.
it's just, I feel like, acknowledging the other person's hard work or hard day that they had. So yeah, I feel like it's more focusing on, oh, you really put a lot of efforts today. And like more like, I feel like it's more conveying empathy rather than making a comment on how they work, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm now starting to think of the difference between kawaii and kawaii
Ah.
because I want to say a lot of people who study Japanese for the first time cannot get the pronunciation. So the first one, kawaii, is cute. And the second one, kawaii, is scary.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure there are some people who have had a horror story where they see somebody or something that looks cute and they call it scary in Japanese. We're here for you. But
We are.
we're here for you. So the way that people pronounce it, not saying that it's a bad thing, but sometimes people get the pronunciations mixed up and what they mean to call cute is they're actually calling scary and vice versa. Yuzu, can you pronounce those very if you don't have to if you don't want to, but could you pronounce those so that people can hear the difference?
Yeah, sure, I can do the sound. So for kawaii, for cute, it's kawaii. Again, it's kawaii. For scary, it's kawaii. Kawaii. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but yeah, the first sound, ka and ko, they're different. And amount of e we put at the end is also different. Kawaii
Mhm.
is a little bit longer and we repeat e twice, but for kawaii it's much shorter and we only say e once. So you can kind of tell by the length of the word, context, and the first sound of the word. So again, I'm going to repeat them kind of side by side. Kawaii, 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 kawaii.
Okay, guys, Yuzu taught you. Don't get it wrong.
Don't get me wrong. If you're looking them up, they're gonna end up with very different results. So
I also had somebody who wanted to get my attention. So he
Mhm.
really wanted to say, 聞いて聞いて, like listen, listen. But instead he said, 消えて消えて, which means disappear, get out, go away. They
That's
also, I feel
hilarious.
like E and E sounds kind of similar to foreigners, so they often mix the sound. So if
Mhm.
Mm.
you say 消えて instead of 聞いて, then it totally means opposite thing. You want to grab another person's attention, but you're actually telling the person to go away. So you want to be careful
Hilarious.
with them.
That is hilarious. I'm sorry.
I've never I've never even thought of that before, but yeah, that's kind of
No.
funny.
Quiete, quiete.
Get off.
Now, if you want
Kid.
somebody to go away and to disappear in front of you, then be my guest. Please say
You
quiete
can-
or quiero. But if you want somebody to listen to you, quite, quite, there's a difference.
Mhm.
And I think these two words are also commonly used in anime, right? Like some cute characters like a kite kite, like listen,
Yeah.
I saw this
I have
handsome boy
this.
or something.
It's true, it's true. They say that a lot.
If
Kiete
anybody
would
wants
be
to know how to say handsome in Japanese, it's ikemen.
Uh,
Ikemen. I say that a
or
lot, actually.
yeah, or bishonen is like a pretty boy.
yeah, but
I
I feel like
feel like,
Bishonen is something that only anime uses.
Yeah,
I've
that
heard
is
of
definitely
some foreigners, calling other people, oh,
using that.
Bishonen, or you're so
Mhm.
Bishojo, but yeah, we actually
That
never
is
use those words in
no,
real life.
that's they say like kire or to say pretty. Definitely kawaii is a lot
kawaii,
that
yeah.
people use.
But I feel like you
Kakkoi,
wouldn't say
cool.
a guy. Yeah, with a guy, you
You would say
wouldn't say
kakkoi.
kawaii. You would say kakui. That guy is so cool.
This is
Oh,
not Japanese language, but like part of Japanese culture. I find a lot of foreigners also try to, when they greet to Japanese people or when they want to say thank you to Japanese people, they kind of put their palms together, like their hands together, and then bow, saying like "arigatou gozaimasu" or "konnichiwa," you know. And I feel like that's not something that a lot of Japanese people don't actually do. We bow a lot, but we don't really, put hands
The
together
prayer,
and bow.
yeah.
Yeah,
The prayer
yeah.
that's what
hands,
we
yeah.
do when we pray at a shrine. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people get the idea of bowing with the hands together from maybe anime or some
Yeah, they actually do
westernized
that.
movies or TV shows about Japan or something like that.
When you see people, like, particularly, I would say in anime or even like some dramas where they're being very expressive, or they're like, "Onegaishimasu," like they do that prayer hand and they
Mm-hmm.
bow. But yeah, you're right. I've never really seen any Japanese person actually
No, I haven't either.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
see that quite
haven't
a
either.
lot when I walk outside or when I visit other countries. There was one time I was on a bus in Canada, and the bus driver, he immediately said, "Oh, are you Japanese?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he put the hands together, did the prayer pose, saying like, "I love Japanese people. Nice to meet you. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Konnichiwa." And I was like, "I am glad you love Japan, but the movement that you're doing is a little bit off. It's not offensive, but I can kind of tell that there's a misunderstanding in the culture. So you might want
Mhm.
to be careful of doing that to a lot of Japanese people."
Yeah, if you're an anime fan, you'll see it a lot where if they're asking for a favor, they'll put their
Yeah.
hands together and they'll say
Yeah.
tanomu,
Senpai
tanomu.
onegai, like they do that.
I want to say for sure I know they do it in the anime, but I can't think of a time where I've ever seen a Japanese person like greet somebody and put their hands together like prayer hands and then say like oh konnichiwa. or anything
If
like that.
yeah. If anything, in Western media, what I have seen is where they do the one prayer hand and the other of like a fist, and then they bow, like, I do know in certain martial arts they also do that, but I don't really think I've seen a lot of prayer hands in Western, at least the Western movies I've seen. It's more like a bow where they put the hands by their sides and then they actually bow. That is an interesting that could be more of like an anime sort of pop culture type of thing where that came
Mhm.
from.
Yeah.
And hearing what Jesse Ichigo said, doing this movement, this hand gesture was tanomu in anime.
Mhm.
Tanomu too, like we don't really say in real life. Tanomu
Mhm.
sounds
Like
quite
begging,
strong.
like
Yeah.
begging,
Instead, onegai,
begging.
onegai.
It's like, "Please, I beg of you, like, help
Yeah.
me."
One thing I will notate is in Japanese, there are different suffixes. So you have chan, for example, ichigo-chan and mikan-chan, yuzu-chan. So you typically would hear those with females. Then you have san, who you would use with somebody that you do not know. And you have sama, who is someone you do not know, but also more customer service. And then you have kun, which is typically used for males, but males on the same level, like if you're classmates or friends. Am
Or
I
even
missing?
younger.
Yeah, or even younger.
Um,
Dono.
it's like traditional.
Classical Japanese.
Anybody that has seen Rurouni Kenshin, Kenshin calls everybody, for example, Kaoru Dono.
Hmm.
He uses Dono for at the end of everybody's name. Very formal.
Nobody uses that, no.
You know.
That is very old school, back in the day, Japanese.
One thing that I want to note about that is in Japan we don't call other people with chan, kun, or maybe dono without that person's permission. We normally start with san first, regardless of the gender or regardless of the kind of the closeness in the age.
Mhm.
So like in high school, when I was in high school, everyone else around me was also teenagers, right? But we would always call our classmates by their last name, adding san. So for example, I might call somebody Tanaka-san, even though the Tanaka-san is also in my class. She's my classmate. She's in my age, and I have to ask her, is it okay to call you by, let's say, Saki-chan? Or is it okay to call you Saki without adding anything at the end? So I know like some people don't really care, but it's really, really weird that people don't really care. So you might want to ask permission to see if it's okay to change how you want to call the person. I even do that when I see new people. Every time I meet new people, we kind of clarify how each other wants to be called. Yeah, and if the other person is older, let the other person handle that conversation. You don't want to be the one who say, "Can I actually, stop calling you with son, even though you're older than me?" So you want to kind of slowly introduce the idea when there's a hierarchy.
That's good to know. You do see that a lot in anime. I don't think it matters what the anime type is, but you definitely see that in slice of life anime where the main guy character asks the main girl character, "Can I call you by your first name?" So on and so forth. And or even like just friends and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's like signifies like a closeness too.
Mhm. Now if that person says no, you ain't that close to them yet. Sorry.
You're not there
That does
yet.
happen.
You're not there yet. Keep pushing. You'll get there maybe, but
That must be an awkward conversation though, if they say no.
Yuzu, can I call you Yuzu-chan? No.
No.
Okay.
Call
Okay.
me Yuzu-sama.
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 And call me Mikan dono.
Ichigo-chan. Oh my gosh. As soon as I said that, Zenitsu popped into my head.
Nezuko-chan.
Nezuko-chan! Oh
He
my
didn't ask
gosh.
for permission. That's why he never gets Nezuko-chan.
Well, she couldn't talk, so that's
That's
She
true.
couldn't talk. She could only run away. She couldn't even say no.
Yes. She just took off running in the other direction.
So, yeah, guys, tell us in the comments what your favorite Japanese word is. And if you guys did learn a new Japanese word today, let us know as well. And if you guys kind of liked this episode, be sure to let us know as well, because we would definitely like to have Yuzu on here again. Thank you again, Yuzu, for coming on with us.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having me. It was fun.
Arigato.
Arigato.
Yeah.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Anime Sekai Podcast. And be sure to tune in next week. Bye, guys. Thanks again, Yuzu.
Bye.
Arigato, Yuzu. Bye,
Arigato. Bye
guys.
bye.
Arigato.